Friday, 8:13, the voice of the 49ers, Greg Papa, joins us. And you know what? Screw the losing part. Let's preview a win against the Cincinnati Bengals. Good morning, Mr. Papa.
It's on to Cincinnati, David.
Yes.
We're all going hoodie and Belichick. So, yeah, it was hard. I didn't know, just the fact that they get off to the 5-0 start and people are talking about them going 17-0. And the reality of the NFL just slapped you. I mean, the wind and the rain and the weather in Cleveland. And Cleveland played well off their bye week. They deserved that game. I didn't expect it from Minnesota, to be honest with you. I thought the 49ers were the better team, but I think there were a lot of factors. Kevin O'Connell, their head coach, being with the Rams for a couple of years and just knowing the Niners from playing against them. The year they won the Super Bowl in LA, it was 3 times that year. And so they had a good plan. I mean, Kirk Cousins just, I don't know if that's the best game he's ever played, but it's one of them. I mean, my God, he only had a couple of bad throws in the whole game, and he ran the whole check with me at the line and got the ball out on time. And there was pressure. He just stepped around it, and whether the Niners blitzed him or played man behind it or zoned it, he just had an answer. So the areas that's concerning is they're not running the ball like the Niners run the ball, and they're not pass rushing the way the Niners pass rush. So those are the staples of this team. And if they don't get back to offensive rushing the ball and defensive rushing the passer, then, they're just not the Niners. So they got to fix those 2 areas.
Greg, we were talking earlier in the week when it came out that Brock Purdy is in concussion protocol and was experiencing symptoms on the plane. And I'll say to you what I said on the radio. Too many times, we think of these guys as immortal and really as chess pieces. And I get it. They're athletes. But Greg, when I heard that, I instantly just started thinking about Brock and how, when you think about experiencing symptoms of a concussion, when you're on a 4-hour flight, 40,000 feet in the air, I just felt myself feeling so out there for Brock and how scary that must have been. And I don't know what the symptoms are, but I'm sure there's a lot of things running through his head, running through the doctor's heads at that type of altitude. I don't even want to get into it. You can fill in the blanks, but I got to think that was a pretty scary situation. And it sounds like he's back at practice, still questionable for Sunday, but I really felt for him on that.
Well, yeah. I mean, ordinarily they wouldn't let you fly
in
a situation like that. So they didn't know. So, when in the game did he get concussed? We think it's the play involving Jordan Hicks on the sneak. But there was a play earlier in the game where he spun away from Daniil Hunter on an inside rush, spun out to his left, and he wound up getting whipped down. When you talk to experts in head trauma, it's not the obvious one sometimes where it's a head-to-head blow, or a lot of it is a whiplashing action where your brain just gets suddenly and violently shook, and your head does, and everything inside of it. Where you, the old expression, "My marbles are loose," or it's that. It's just whatever brain matter in the brain gets shaken around and it gets dislodged is what causes it. So when did it happen? Right after the Jordan Hicks play, he snuck one more play on 4th down and got it, and then the very next play was the interception over the middle to Cam Bynum, where Juwan Jennings had to run that in cut, and Brock was a little bit off on the throw, but I think Jennings was a little bit late getting across his face on the route. There's a lot of the 49ers passing concepts are built on landmarks, and Brock throws a lot of times before a player even breaks. And this is one where I think he thought Jennings would be there. But in any event, then he threw the other one. So where was he at? But as far as he did return to practice, he was involved in walkthrough segments of practice on Wednesday, but yesterday he was there in a limited fashion. So that seems to believe as though he's making progress. We'll know more today about how practice goes. And then I think we'll know tomorrow morning, Dave, if he's able to go. And I think, Adam Schefter kind of sent out a note that caused people to believe, he's not going to play in this game and it's going to be Sam. It's not true about a player getting cleared in 1 week's time. John Feliciano, the 49ers center, he was in the concussion protocol going into a game. And he wound up getting cleared in time to play on Sunday. So It's a little bit shorter of a week because the Niners played Monday night when he had the concussion and felt it flying home on Tuesday morning. The Niners didn't land back at SFO till 2:15 in the morning and back to the facility at 3. So it's a little bit shorter of a time frame to recover. So, but I think right now it's a great unknown. There is a chance that Brock Purdy will still be able to play in this game.
Great. If he doesn't, what are your expectations on Darnold, and how would it be any different with him running the plays?
Well, I love Sam Darnold. I've loved him, throughout his college career at USC, even the ups and downs and all arounds against with the Jets. He had different offensive coordinators with all the coaching firings there. He was in this system his rookie year where Jeremy Bates was the offensive coordinator. I've seen him play really well. There was a throw he made against the 49ers the pandemic year 20 when he was rolling to his left and he hit Braxton Berrios for a touchdown. It was like, wow. He does that all the time in the practice field. He's a elite thrower of the football. The question is, seeing ghosts, which he said before in his career. He's new to the system, the terminology. He did play in it for 1 year. Brandon Allen's been in the system, the third quarterback, throughout his entire career. Brock's obviously been in it for now a second year. So it would just be, can he execute the offense at the same level as Brock? He can make all the throws Brock can make. And then, if he does have to play, I don't think they'll change the offense much. Just talking to Kyle yesterday, although the quarterbacks are different, they're similar in the way they play. They're all pocket quarterbacks with similar abilities, some more in areas than others. So if Sam does have to play, I don't think you're going to notice a major difference in the 49er offense, which is like, remember when Trey Lance in 21 had to play for Jimmy Garoppolo, that game in Arizona on October the 10th, and it was a heavy run-based. It was a lot of, pistol and shotgun, and it was different. And a lot of that was because Trey had hurt his finger in the preseason that year against the Raiders, so he wasn't able to flip it and rip it the way he could ordinarily. So if Sam does play, and it's 14 under center as opposed to 13, besides the fact he's bigger, quarterback, physically bigger, I think the offense will look pretty much the same.
Greg Papa with us, voice of the Niners. Lots been made about the zero blitz Steve Wilks called, and Kyle Shanahan came out and talked about it. Coach Wilks gave him my badge. Jason and I were just talking about it a couple segments ago. It was a rip away, one in a million, or should I say 1 in 1,000 play. But they were this close to picking it off. And obviously that happens. We're not hearing anything about the zero blitz. In your opinion, and you're a football mind unlike anyone I know, was it the play call or was it just simply the 16 seconds part of it?
The 16 seconds.
Yeah.
And where they were situationally. So they're on their 40.
Yep.
They have a kicker that last year won a game with a 61-yard field goal. So they're probably thinking, can we go from our 40 to their 40 and kick a 58-yard field goal? Now, how much time do we have to do that? So, a guy can run a 20-yard dig route or a post like Jordan Addison ran. He can do that. Guy runs a 4.35 or something, so he can get there fast. So it's not that simple. And even though they didn't have a timeout, the fire call, how quick can they run that post route, that dig, get up and spike the ball with 1 second to go and kick a field goal? I think it's all there. I think they can do that. So how do you play that if you're the Niners? Are you covering to the 40-yard line and then down? So it's more of a top-down defense. When you're running a 7-man pressure, they brought the 4 down guys, and they brought 2 from the outside, Talanoa Hufanga and Isaiah Oliver, and they brought Dre Greenlaw inside. Fred was showing blitz, but he bailed. But you brought 7, and Talanoa Hufanga just didn't pressure. He could have had a sack. He was the unblocked hitter on that play, and I don't know what he was thinking on that play, but he just didn't come. If he just goes against the quarterback the way Huff and Puff can do it, it may not be an issue. But it's a little bit. When I first was watching it back, and Tim Ryan and I watched that play back 50 times on the flight back, I was thinking, what's going on here? Why would you run to the 7-man pressure with 16 seconds to go and a third down?
Yeah.
And then, should Charvarius just bat the ball down? It's third down. You don't need to intercept the ball. But he's also thinking, he's a playmaker. I pick it off. I run it back to the house. We score before halftime. I pick it off and I run it back to their 30, get out of bounds with a second to go. We kick the field goal. So it wasn't like there was no time left and it was the last play, but it was deflating. And then to Sean Gibson, I spoke to him at length yesterday about he was in center field to start, and then he vacated center field because it really was a cover 4, and they, it looked like a cover 0, whatever it was the imperfect storm. And then, Charvarius let the ball get through his hands. He's not a great catcher of the ball. He works on the jugs a lot, but he's just not skilled that way. The ball goes through his hands. If he's able to not let it go through his hands and even knock it down, then it does not, because he's on top of Jordan Addison. But when he let the ball go through his hands, it got to his upfield shoulder, and the receiver was there. So he just ripped it away from his arm because the ball got pinned there. So it was the thing about that play, and there was a lot of football to play after, but boy, when that happened, it was like, what just happened? And I went immediately to Case Keenum and the Stephon Diggs and the Minneapolis Miracle play, and it wasn't quite bad, but it felt like, because the Niners just scored before halftime on the McCaffrey play. Well, they ran a cover 0 blitz, and the Niners, punctured that. So you're thinking the Niners are going to get the ball to start the second half. They could have the lead in 5 minutes, and all of a sudden they get that house call, and they did miss the extra point, but it was just the whole nature of it. So can you imagine the 49er halftime locker room going in after that play?
Yeah. And
I know Kyle didn't like it after the game. He liked it less when he saw it during the week. He told the world that Steve Wilkes messed up. I can only imagine, what the venom and the volume of angst was at halftime. That's not the way you wanted to go into halftime. You wanted to go into it scheming up how to come out and score to start the second half. Not, how do we just give up a house call with a 7-man pressure through a cover 0 on a third down with 16 seconds to go in the half? How did that happen?
Well, enough of this losing crap.
That's right.
This weekend. Hopefully a get-right game against a healthier Bengals team. It's certainly going to be a challenge, and hopefully Bosa and friends can make Mr. Burrow eat some grass a little bit here Sunday. We know you will have a good call with Mr. Ryan as well, and we always appreciate you showing up.
On to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
On to
Cincinnati.
We didn't even talk Warriors and Kings. We got 2 games before we talk next week.
Oh, yeah.
We got one tonight, and we got Draymond's not playing.
Yeah.
I know you're very disappointed.
Very.
You won't be able to. Are you going to boo him from the bench?
Yes.
Still going to boo Draymond?
Yeah. Anytime. And I'm sure Draymond will not react whatsoever and just be stoic the whole time.
Yeah, he'll jump up and wave to the crowd.
Oh, we got a lot to talk about next Friday then, as you're right. Basically,
We do.
the Kings and Warriors have their own league at this point. They play so often. So have a safe flight, sir, and we'll talk to you on Friday. Thank you so much.
Sweet.
Take care. That is Greg Papa, voice of the Niners. We're late for a break. When we